so the first part of the test, this first question anyway, is about adding and subtracting polynomials. So we have two stores with different polynomials, and then it asks us what is the combined inventory. So we are going to combine like terms. And remember, in order to combine two terms, I have to have the same letter raised, or the same variable rather, raised to the same power. So we have g squared and g squared that we can put together. And then we have that one, sorry, 4/5 g is by itself, and then we have 7/2 and 1/4 that we can put together. So 1/2 plus 3/2, or 3 is 3.5 g squared. And we're just going to write down 4, was that minus? Yeah, minus 4/5 g. And then we need to add 7/2 plus 1/4. So I need common denominators. So I gotta change that to fourths. So that's 14. So that gives me 15/4. Okay, so I need minus 4g. So not these two. And then plus 15/4. And because 3.5, if you convert that to a fraction instead of a whole number, you do get 7/2. Okay, so this next section we are simplifying rational expressions, and then we need to state any excluded values, and we'll talk about what that means in a minute. So we're simplifying these. We're going to simplify them just like we do fractions, like 4/16. You find the greatest common factor in each, and then take that out, simplify it, divide by that. Okay, so this first one, in the numerator, a 2 can come out, and an x can come out, and that would leave us with x plus 3. And then the denominator is this. So remember that this is 2 times x plus 3, and this is 10 times x to the third. So a 2 goes in once there and 5 times here. And then the x goes in once here, and that leaves us with x squared here. So our answer is x plus 3 over 5x squared. And now the excluded value, that means the denominator cannot equal 0. So you got to go back to your original denominator. So for the excluded value, that's in blue, that cannot equal 0. The only way 10x to the third equals 0 is if x is 0, since when you multiply by 0, it's the only way you get a 0. So x cannot equal 0. So that's our excluded value. So I always kind of write it over here so it's in one kind of answer box. Okay. Alright, so number 3. Can't do anything with the numerator, so I'm just going to write that down. But the denominator, I can factor out a 3. Minus 3. And then I have these are the same. But you can't just leave the numerator blank. It needs to have a 1, like if you simplify 4/16, that goes in once, and that goes in 4 times. You know, just leave the numerator blank or put a 0 or whatever crazy stuff you want to do. So this is just 1/3. Okay, now we need to do our excluded value. So that means that cannot equal 0. So hang on, let me move this over and get some room over here. So 3m minus 9 cannot equal 0. So it's just a 2-step equation. Add 9 to both sides. 3m cannot equal 9. Divide by 3. that equals 1, so m cannot equal 3. So that's our excluded value. Because if I put a 3 in there, I'm going to get 9 minus 9, which is going to give me 0. X cannot equal 3. Alright, and then the division. Okay, so this first one, I'm just going to write like this, and then I'll write it, because some people did try to do it like long division way. So we'll try that and see what happens. Okay, so this is really just like chapter 5, property of exponents question. So 6 goes into 6 once and into 54 9 times. You can look at this as x to the 9 minus 3, since we are dividing. Some people divided the exponents. No, can't do that. And some people added. Nope, can't do that. You're subtracting. But what I do is think about, if this was all expanded, I'd have 3 x's in the denominator and 9 x's in the numerator, x times x times x times x, you know. So I will take 3 of those. That will cancel with 3 of those. That leaves me with 6 of those. Same thing here. 4 y's cancel with these 4 y's, 8. And I am left with 4 y's in the numerator. So the answer here was 9x to the 6th, y to the 4th. Okay. Let me try dividing it the long division way and see, because a lot of people tried doing that. So let me see how that works. Okay, so as I saw some people write it like this. This might even be easier. So 6 goes into 54 9 times. X to the 3rd goes into x to the 9th. What do I multiply x to the 3rd by to get x to the 9th? Which would be x to the 6th. What do I multiply y to the 4th by to get y to the 8th? Y to the 4th. So then when you do that, 9 times 6 is, you just get this. So everything, you get 0, and that's your answer. Okay, so either way. Okay, let's go back to this one. Make sure I got lots of room here. Okay, so in this one, you have to make sure you write that in standard form. So 3d squared plus 2d minus 29 divided by d plus 3. So I'm going to take the first term, and then this plus 3 in the divisor is kind of just going to come along for the ride, so to speak. So we're worried about, what we multiply d by to get 3d squared, and that would be 3d. And then remember, you have to multiply, you have to kind of distribute that, multiply the whole divisor by the quotient, just like in regular long division. So 3d times d is 3d squared. 3d times 3 is 6d. Now we need to subtract, because that's what we do in long division, which means we need to subtract and subtract. We have to change those signs. Okay, so 2d minus 6d is negative 4d. Bring down the next term. And then d goes into negative 4d. Negative 4 times. And again, negative 4 times d and negative 4 times 3. And then because we're subtracting the whole quantity, we have to come in here and change our signs to the opposite. So it gives you 0. And then negative 12, or negative 29 plus 12 is 17. It does not seem right. moment. Thought it was 7. Okay, well, negative 17. Okay, so let's go here and write down our answer, because D does not go into negative 17 at all. So our answer then is going to be written like the quotient minus the remainder over the divisor. And that is your answer. Okay, so next section is multiply. So this first one, we have a trinomial multiplied by a binomial. And so you need to remember distribution. And first we multiply everything by negative 4h. And then back here, multiply everything by 3. And then combine like terms. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at h squared, and I multiply that by negative 4h. I'm going to get negative 4h to the third. So it can't be g, can't be j. Okay, then I'm going to look at these last terms, negative 3 or positive 3. So that's going to come from, that's going to come from these last terms. When I do 3 times negative 1, I'm going to get negative 3. So it can't be this one. So it's going to be... So we have multiple choice to do the whole entire problem now. Okay, let's look at number 7. Okay, so these 7, 8, and 9 are just binomial times binomial. So you can use double distribution, or what we used to call FOIL, back in the day. Or this is where you're going to do the box method. So I'm going to do, let me do this one as double distribution. Then I'll do 8 as the box method. So W times W is W squared. W times 11 is 11W. 3 times W is 3W. 3 times 11 is 33. Then you come and combine like terms here, and you get W squared plus 14W plus 33. And that's it. That's your answer. Okay. All right, number 8. I'll use the box method here. So you draw yourself like a little window pane. I'm going to use a different color though, because I got really close to this answer box. So t plus 8 goes up here. T minus 5, it doesn't matter where it goes. I just start at the top. It goes here. So t times t is t squared. T times 8 is 8t. Negative 5 times t is negative 5t. Negative 5 times 8 is negative 40. And then your like terms are always on this like diagonal. So t squared, and then negative 5t plus 8t is 3t, and then minus 40. Okay, let's go over here. So either way, and then 9 is a little different because you have coefficients for, well, d, it looks like here, for the variables, but I'm going to do it the same way. 4d times 2d is 8d squared. 4d times negative 10 is negative 40d. 3 times 2d is positive 6d. 3 times negative 10 is negative 30. Those are my like terms. So 8d squared minus 34d minus 30. That is your answer. Right, number 10. I'm going to do the way I did number 9. But if you're going to do a box method, Do the same thing, only now you need 3, like you need a 3 by 2. Okay, and then over here you're going to need 2x and -1. Okay, so your box looks, make it a whole entire box if you want. Your box will look like that. Okay, and then you're going to have like terms here and here. Generally. Oh, maybe not. No, you're not, because of the way it is. Forget I said that last part. Okay, but you check those diagonals for like terms, and if you have them, then those are the ones you combine. But because I have x to the third, there's no x term in the trinomial that I wrote on the top. It's not going to have like terms. It's not going to have 2 sets of like terms. Okay, so I'm going to do it this way. 2x times 4x to the third is 8x to the fourth. 2x times -5x squared is -10x squared. 2x times 8 is 16x. -1 times -5x squared is positive 5x to the third. Oops, I've missed one. Hang on 1 sec. That's wrong. Hang on. I got confused. Okay, so I missed this term, -1. Oh, what would be good, I guess, if I had a pen here. -1 times 4x to the third is -4x to the third. And then -1 times -5x squared is positive 5x squared. And then -1 times 8 is -8. So the only like terms I have here are these two. So 8x to the fourth, -10 and positive 5 gives you, hang on. Oh, I want to write the x to the third term next. And then -10 and positive 5 is -5x squared, and then plus 16x minus 8, and that whole long thing. There you go. That's your answer. Okay, I did this wrong, and I can't go back and record over it. I thought I could, but I can't, so... And, oh good, I can erase it. Let me start this one again. You know, it's early, of course, because that's when it's quiet in my house. So, let's see. Let me try. Let me see if I can do this right this time. Okay, so 2x times 4x to the third is 8x to the fourth. But 2x times -5x squared, that's -10x to the third. And then 2x times 8 is 16x. -1 times 4x to the third is -4x to the third. -1 times -5x squared is positive 5x squared. And -1 times 8 is -8. So then my like terms are here. So my answer is 8x to the fourth minus 14x to the third plus 5x squared plus 16x minus 8. Okay, and that is your correct answer for real this time. Sorry about that. Okay, and now my favorite, factoring. Okay, so when you have multiple choice and you have these problems that have, you know, I have multiple ways to get 21, I have multiple ways to get 20, so I'm going to guess and check, because I know we looked at that method where we multiply A by C, but that's going to give me like 400 something. I don't want to deal with that. And I see I can't factor anything out because that 13's prime. So I'm gonna just try. It looks like I'm starting with 3 and 7 for my factors of 21, and 4 and 5 for 20, because that's what all the answer choices have. So let me try 3x and 7x, and then minus 4 and plus 5, and see what that does. Now, I know my first and my last terms are going to come out right. I know I'm going to get 21x squared and negative 20, so I'm just checking my x terms, my middle terms. That's going to give me 15x. That's going to give me 28x. And 15 minus 28 is negative 13. Yes? Hang on. You know, it is early. Let me just make sure. Yeah, but 28's bigger, so that's going to give me negative 13x, and I need positive 13x. So it is not A. So let me try. Let me erase. And let me try the next one. So let me try 7x minus 5, 3x plus 4. Okay, so that's going to give me 28x minus 15x, and that gives me positive 13x. So that's my answer. All right, now number 12. Again, I have multiple choice. Makes it a little bit easier because, again, I have a composite coefficient of x squared. Although the plus 2, I can only get that one way, 2 and 1. And because this is negative and this is positive, I know this is going to be, these both have to be negative. So 2 and 1. So let's see. Let's try 3x minus 2, and that would make this 6x. Okay, so that gives me 18x squared, and negative 1 times negative 2 gives me positive 2, so I'm just going to check my middle terms. That gives me negative 12. That gives me negative 3x. That gives me negative 15x, which is what I want. So my answer is A. Okay. All right. Now the ones we have to figure out by ourselves. Great fun. So since it's asking me to factor, I'm pretty sure these are going to go. This is what we're hoping for. Trinomials factor into two binomials. So the only way I get x squared is x and x. Negative 30, so one of these has to be negative, one has to be positive. And the first thing I would try is 10 and 3. And since middle term's negative, that would be this way. But when I do that, I got to check. I get 3x minus 10x, which gives me negative 7x, not negative 13. So that one's not going to work. So what else makes 30? Well, 15 and 2. Let's try that one. X and x, a negative and a positive. My middle term has to be negative, so I'm going to make my bigger number negative, and this 2. And let's check. That gives me 2x. That gives me negative 15x. That gives me negative 13x. That's what I want. So that's my answer. X minus 15 times x plus 2. All right, so now 14. Okay, so I could do 6 and 1 or 2 and 3 for the 6. But the only way I get 5 is 5 and 1. Everything's positive, so that makes life easier there. Okay, I'm going to try 3x and 2x. And let's see if that works. That gives me 3x. That gives me 10x. Which gives me 13x. Oh, yay, that's what I wanted. There we go. Okay, now if I look at 15, I have k to the third, k squared, and k. You can factor that into two binomials, but it is a lots easier if you first factor out a k. Then that gives me a trinomial that we're used to working with, and that just will be a little bit easier to keep track of your terms. Okay, so I'm really factoring this 3k squared plus 14k plus 8, but you got to remember to write the k down. Lots of people didn't write that part down. Okay, so let me move my paper up because I'm out of room. All right, so I am factoring this. This is what I have so far. There we go. So let's see. Well, the only way to get 3k squared is 3k and k. Everything's positive. And then I have 8, so I'm going to do 2 and 4. And let's see if that works. That's going to give me 12k, and that's going to give me 2k, which will give me 14k, which is what I wanted. So that's my answer. So it's k times 3k plus 2, k plus 4. Now, if you didn't factor the k out first, then one of these binomial factors has a k. Either you got 3k squared plus 2k, or you have k squared plus 4k, and then it's not factored completely if there's a common factor in one of those binomials. Okay. Hang on, let me write this better. That's a plus. All right, and then number 16. This is called the difference of two squares. And we talked about this, but if you forgot, basically you need to do this so that you end up with no middle term. So the only way to get a is a and a. You need a negative and a positive so that that turns out to be negative. Now I need two factors that multiply to 16, but I also need them to be a zero pair. So 4 and 4. If you use 8 and 2, you get like, well, negative 8 plus 2. So you get negative 6 as a middle term, or positive 6 as a middle term. Okay, and we can't have a middle term. So that's going to be it, because when I do this, I get 4a. And when I do that, I get negative 4a. So that gives me 0a. So I just wouldn't have the term with the a in it. Okay? Okay, so you need to do test corrections. And so if you needed help with part of that, there you go. And then you need to do some sort of evidence to, hang on. So you could do Khan Academy videos. There's some linked on the classroom. I'll look from some Virtual Nerd videos, but if you just Google virtualnerd.com, you can pick algebra as the topic, and she has some. Khan Academy, though, will have practice to do afterwards. So do some of those practices or quizzes or whatever they call them. Take a screenshot. That's your evidence of extra practice that you did. The other thing you could do is get your textbook out, go to those sections where you need to work either multiplying, which is sections 7.2 and 7.3. 7.1 is adding and subtracting. And then factoring is 7.5 and 7.6, I think. And then 7.9 is the simplifying rational numbers, and 7.10 is dividing. So you can do some of those problems, bring them in, use the teacher edition and check them. So you need some sort of evidence that you practiced. Otherwise, the retest is likely not to come out any better. Okay, and then, of course, do your test corrections because you need to know what you did wrong. Okay, you need to show me those before you take your retest. Because this is a testing week, retest isn't going to start until, I guess, Wednesday. I guess I'll let y'all come Wednesday after school. Okay, but then, of course, Thursday morning's fine. We'll do Thursday at lunch is fine, Thursday after school, Friday morning, Friday lunch, and then we'll go from there to see if we need any additional dates.